system. What are the traits and basic qualities of a free enterprise system, which is also called a private enterprise system? Main idea: countries in the global marketplace have market-oriented economic systems that feature the traits of a free enterprise system. They are property ownership, competition, risk, and the profit motive. And then, of course, the fact that they start their own business. So private enterprise is business ownership by ordinary people, not the government. Public enterprise would be government ownership. It's the basis of a market-oriented economy. Private enterprise, as I said earlier, is also called free enterprise. These are the basic elements of private enterprise: freedom to own property, freedom to compete, freedom to take risks, freedom to make a profit, and of course, freedom to start a company. I'm going to go over these in a little more detail now. Freedom to start a company. People are encouraged to start and operate their own businesses as part of the free enterprise system. If they don't start a company, there's no free enterprise. So people are encouraged to do that. The marketplace determines prices through the interaction of supply and demand. If supply exceeds demand, the price tends to drop. If demand, people who want the product, is greater than supply, the price tends to go up. The government does not set prices or distribute goods or services. So that's a free enterprise or private enterprise. People are free for ownership. So first of all, they're free to own a business. Second, they're free to own anything: property, cars, computer, homes, houses, resources such as oil and land. You can buy anything you want as long as it's not prohibited by law. You can also sell, give it away, lease it, or just use it if you own something. Usually in a free enterprise system, you try to make money from the property that you own. If you're using a car, you're using it to go to work or to take your family somewhere. If you're using a computer, you're using it to get out there to find things. If you have a home, it's for shelter and safety, but you're hoping that it will go up in value. So usually you have things because you want them to be worth something. There are many types of businesses. Okay, people who start and operate their own businesses are called entrepreneurs. Others support business by investing their money in parts or shares of a company. This is called stocks. And the people who do that are called stockholders. Okay? So business ownership, intellectual property rights, are the product or idea a person creates or invents that is legally protected from being copied by another business or person. Patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets are all intellectual property rights. A patent is when the inventor owns the right to his invention, his or her invention, which can be an idea or an item. The exclusive rights are for up to 20 years. A trademark is a word, name, symbol, sound, or color that identifies a good or service. It cannot be used by anyone but the owner. Unlike a patent, a trademark can be renewed forever if it is being used by a business. The Nike Swish, the McDonald's Golden Arches are all trademarks for that business. A copyright involves anything that is authored by an individual. A writing, poems, books, music, and artwork. The author has exclusive rights to produce and sell the work and which has a valid life of at least 70 years or more. Now, besides ownership and the ability to start a business, another basic part of the free enterprise system is competition. Free enterprise encourages businesses to attract new customers and keep old ones, and to take customers away from others. That's called competition. The struggle for customers is the definition of competition. It's essential for a free enterprise. It's one of the ways that we make our products better, because if we're the only person selling something, we have no incentive to make it better for less price. But if there are multiple people are in the business, such as cell phone business, then it causes people to produce better phones at a less price or have better rates than other people, or at least discounted rates for a while so that they can pull the competition or the consumer to their so that they can pull the consumer over to their company. Now, there's a couple of kinds of competition. There's price competition and non-price competition. Price competition says that the less things cost, everything else being equal, consumers will buy that product. So if I have two phones, they're made by the same company, sold by two different resellers. One is more expensive than the other. Price competition says the cheaper one will be the one that people buy. However, then comes non-price competition. Factors such as the quality of the products, the service, the financing, the location of the business, and the reputation. For instance, Verizon has not changed their prices for a long, long time because they have been the leader in their area for cell phones and cell phone service. In fact, if you go in, they really don't even negotiate their service cost. However, other companies are catching up to them, AT&T for one of them. And so now they may have to rethink their non-price way of competing. Another part of competition, monopolies, which really are not competition. A monopoly is exclusive control over a product or the means of producing it. They're not permitted in a market-oriented economic society. And in fact, our government, will step in if they believe there's a monopoly. For instance, Microsoft had a monopoly on operating systems for a long time. And people complained about it, and the government recognized it, and they did take them to court, and they did make it so that Microsoft would have to share their, not so much share, but they wouldn't require people to upgrade every year and have to pay for it. Business risk is the potential loss for failure in a business. As you know, many companies, if you think about local little restaurants that open up, how many of them are there after the first year? Okay, there's a big risk in going into business by yourself. So, although it's planted at the bottom of this page, business risk is another factor in the principles of free enterprise. It's a big one, too. Lastly, profit. Profit is the money earned from conducting business after all costs and expenses have been paid. Profit is the motivation for taking the risk of starting a business. Starting a business is risky, but if you're going to make money, then it's worth the risk. So you have freedom to choose a business as a basic principle for private enterprise. You have freedom to own property, whether intellectual or hard copy property. Freedom to compete so that you can get the business. Freedom to take risks in order to open up your own company, and freedom to make a profit. So those are the 5 elements of the basic principles. But while we're at it, let's talk about supply and demand, because that is all about profit and risk. Supply is the amount of goods producers are willing to make and sell. The law of supply, economically, is that price and quantity supplied move in the same direction. This means that as prices rise for a good, the quantity supplied goes up. Why not? If you're going to get if you're a business and you're going to get a lot of money for the product you sell, wouldn't you make a little bit more if you could get a lot of money for it? So as the price falls, like now it's not selling for as much as it used to, the quantity supplied by sellers also falls. For instance, phones. An iPhone 4, I don't even know if they make it anymore. It's pretty old. iPhone 10, it's out there, it's new, and there might be a short supply of it to drive the price up. Now, on the other side of that equation is demand, and that's consumers. So supply was the business, demand is the consumer, their willingness and ability to buy products. This principle says that price and demand move in opposite directions for the consumer. As the price of a good increases, as the price of a product increases, the quantity of the good demanded falls. So as prices go up for a certain type of phone, fewer people buy it because it's costing more. As the price goes down, more people start to buy it. So that is demand. Supply and demand work together. When there's more supply of products than demand, you have a surplus. When you have less supply and greater demand. A lot of people want it, but you don't have a lot being made. That's a shortage. When these two are in equilibrium or are equal, when supply and demand are equal, you are in what's called a state of equilibrium. That's a good balance to be in when you're in a business, and it's a good balance for the economy. So, again, the basic elements of a private enterprise: freedom to choose business, freedom to own property, freedom to compete, freedom to take risks, and freedom to make a profit. And then lastly, you have supply and demand, which is how it's either risky or not, and how you get your profit.